people, and welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market, where today I have the express pleasure of talking about this lovely specimen of marigold. Because it always comes back to marigolds with me, and y'all just gonna have to deal with that. This particular variety, its scientific name is Tagetes erecta, meaning that it's one of those quote-unquote African marigolds. Specific variety is Eskimo. Another gnat. Ugh, they're just everywhere. I'm inhaling gnats and it's gross. Blech. Anyway, commonly called the Eskimo Marigold. Now, we're going to get into that name in a minute because it's a little bit misleading. But first and foremost, marigolds are in the Asteraceae, which means they're a daisy. The name Tagetes comes from the Etruscan deity Tages, or Tages. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. And erecta means upright, of course. Now, this plant is originally native to Mexico and Central America. Henceforth, the African marigold name is a misnomer. It is perennial in USDA zones 9 through 11, but for all intents and purposes, most people grow marigolds as an annual. And we're in zone 8B, so it is an annual effectively. This plant prefers a soil pH of 6.0 to 8.0, and it prefers a soil mix that drains well, because daisies get rot if it don't. Its exposure is full sun to partial shade, and it's full sun. In fact, this is in a pot with a very large tomato that I'm waiting to see what variety it is, because it's not what ripe tomato. Yay, ripe tomato. I'm sorry, I get excited. I think that's a Cherokee Purple. Huh. It was supposed to be a Peruvian tomato, but apparently it didn't get the memo. Whatever, still delicious for me. Anyway, its height can be 12 to 18 inches. However, specimens in this garden, one of them over there is probably pushing 2 and some change at this point. So, these Eskimo marigolds obviously didn't get that memo. We ain't gonna rat them out. You know who gets stitches. So yeah, I'm okay with this. Now, the width of these plants can be 6 to 18 inches, which is about right. And these plants were formerly known as vanilla which was, if you go back in time to the 90s, when they first introduced a white African marigold. That plant, its variety was called vanilla. So Eskimo is either an improved version or a rebranding to avoid lawsuits. And since it's agriculture we're talking about, it's probably to avoid lawsuits. But it's still a lovely plant, and it's got lovely white flowers, and they're a nice complement to my giant mission marigolds, which I did I'll put a link to that in the description. But anyway, they're out here in the garden too, because I loves me some marigolds. Anyway, this plant, unfortunately, has one downside. It is very vulnerable to slug damage. It doesn't repel insects like marigolds are supposed to. The giant missions seem to do that pretty well, but these guys, not so much. So I have to put out slug traps. It does attract pollinators, because, look at that flower. Look at that. It's like a blob of exploding white, probably on camera for you guys, but up up close beholding it, it is very pretty. And there are butterflies everywhere, and gnats and critters, and it's like Wild Kingdom out here right now. But anyway, unfortunately, I've discovered that it's not all that good at repelling pests. However, for how pretty it is and how unique it is, and that the flowers are mildly sweetly scented, I can take a few downsides. I can accept that. So that is Eskimo African marigolds that aren't really African, but a whole nother problem there. If you've grown these and you have thoughts on them, please could put your notes in the comments section. Any thoughts you got? If you haven't already, please hit like, hit subscribe. If you haven't already, it helps the channel. We'd love to hear from you. And the blog is still churning out new content. So there's that. There's a link to that in the channel description, in the video description rather. And as always, folks, keep them growing, and thanks for watching.